Welcome to the Inspired by Jacqueline podcast, a refreshing place for women struggling with entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. Stay tuned for today's episode. Hey everyone, thank you again for joining another episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. I have an amazing guest today. Sheryl Hatwood is a survivor. She's an advocate. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a leader whose life's work is rooted in helping others by helping them heal. I think that's the energy that really connected me to her without even knowing. She is a certified wellness coach. She holds various degrees and certifications. Sheryl brings both professional expertise and personal testimony to everything she does. Her story of overcoming trauma was first shared on stage in her off-Broadway production, The Wounded Soul, and later authored by The Restored Soul, a book chronicling her healing journey and the restoration of her identity and faith. So this conversation today is going to be rooted in all of this that pretty much she highlights in her bio. Sheryl is the founder of Truths by SH, a self-care brand rooted in advocacy. In her community, Sheryl served 4 years as president of the Manor Club of Pelham, being the first Black president in 130-year history, where she led the strategic innovation while preserving the club's historical legacy. She is a recipient of the WEI Trailblazer Award, a Westchester County proclamation, and Deloitte's Global Impact Award, reflecting her leadership across both corporate and community spheres. So welcome, Sheryl. And I just want to add, she has here also, at her core, Sheryl is a woman of faith, a mother, a creative, and a voice reminding others that healing is not only possible, it's a choice. Oh my gosh, so many goodies. Hi, Sheryl.
Hi, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I think it's so important to have these conversations. So thank you
Oh
for
my
having
gosh.
me.
Is there anything else you wanted to add that was not mentioned?
I think that you did a great collective overview of who I am. I know there's a lot of buckets that led to the next step in my journey, so I can always talk from that
Okay,
position.
awesome. I know we have a lot of goodies just from prior conversations. I know our last conversation was so impactful and so to the core of like who we both are and what we believe in. And we have a lot of relatable conversations, journeys, and this is why I was looking forward to this conversation. So I can't wait for the listeners to tune in. Before we start, like, how do you start your morning?
This is excellent because routine is very important for me, right? I have to set the expectation for the morning, and that sets the tone for my day. So I start every day with exercise. I
Mhm.
at least a walk or I'm at the gym. Throughout the summer, I usually try and be outside as much as possible. So I get up at 5 or 6 o'clock and I go for a walk, 3 to 5 miles, and then I come back. I read the Word of God. There's always a message there for
Amen.
me. And then I shower and then I go to work. And I have to do that because if I don't start my workday like that, reflective in prayer and meditation and exercise, it's not the best version of myself showing up that day.
Mhm.
And I always try to be better than I was yesterday. I run my own race. I don't run against anyone else. It's just, am I better than I was yesterday? What did I learn yesterday that I can impart on today? So routine is very important to me in starting the days positively. And I don't, my phone is away from my bed because I used to pick up my phone all the time. Why, I don't know. Like there's life happening in my own life to focus on somebody else's. So that's something I had to detox from technology a bit and just rethink how I was planning my days.
Wow, just in me asking you how was your morning, you gave a whole bunch of tips that is really important because I still have my phone next to my bed. But you're right. Like it's like if you're able to step away from it, leave it someplace else, and then when it's the right time to pick it up, it allows you to just breathe, right?
Exactly, because reading the wrong thing in the morning, getting caught up
Mm.
in what's happening in the world, it can set the tone for your day. And then you realize, I just wasted 45 minutes on my phone. I could have walked for 45 minutes. Now my day is cut, and now I'm rushing around, and I don't like to rush. I don't want to be in that instant activity. I want to be planned and purposeful and intentional with all my time because that's something you don't get back.
So I know when we first met, you were showcasing your product. I call them your gifts, truths, and we'll talk more about it. But my curiosity is what made you enter the world of entrepreneurship?
So I got into entrepreneurship because I got into Broadway first because I love to write. And I decided the best way to introduce people to myself is to tell them about my life. But as I started writing, I started revealing things about myself that I wanted to hide, that no one knew about myself, because no one knew that I was a survivor of sexual abuse. I touched on basically little of my domestic abuse. And then I realized, what am I doing? Why am I
Mm,
going to reveal to a world that doesn't care who I am about myself? So I did that because I wanted to unveil myself and live authentically. And I think that was my first step into walking into my true self. Well, God's timing is everything. And right before I released The Wounded Soul, it was right in line with the Me Too movement.
mm,
And so it opened so many doors of opportunity for me to speak on my journey and to speak to other women, speak to teens, get interviews on and talk about this important topic that's sometimes shoved to the back or not highlighted to how it should be. And I went into the entrepreneurship thinking, okay, I need something to represent myself. And so what do I do at home when I want peace or relaxation? So I like candles. I had so many candles here, it could have been a fire hazard. But I light candles for everything. My house looks sometimes like I'm doing a ceremony, but there's candles everywhere. So I'm thinking that's it. I'll make candles. But I didn't know how to make candles. So I went to a
mm,
distributor who made candles for me. But what happened, they didn't provide me the product in time with a speaking engagement. And I decided I'm going to learn to make my own candles. So that forced me into creating the candles. And when I learned to make them, I'm just like, wow, what else can I make? So I branched into the diffusers, and then I branched into the perfume. And I most recently just branched into room and linen sprays because I
wow.
wanted to have a product that speaks to who I am. Candles for me is just continue to be the light. Diffusers for me are to negate the negative energy. The
Mm,
perfumes are very soft, but they're intentional and they're confident. The room linen spray is something that you can just spray on your linens and your room just as a calming element. And all of my products have vanilla and sandalwood as their base notes because
mm,
vanilla is comforting and the sandalwood reminds me to stay rooted in who I am. And so the name Truce came because I finally called a truce with myself
wow.
and not pretending I was somebody else. And the truth came from the initial stand for speak your truth, you're relevant, you're unique, choose you, and elevate your mind. So it's more than just a product, it's a statement of who I am. It's the product that you can put in your space to advocate for who you are. You see the candle or you put the diffuser on, and yes, I forgive myself for that because we give grace to so many other people and we hold ourselves to a higher account and we can't forgive ourselves. I've learned to forgive myself now to a degree that's really over forgiving, but I need to because it moves my needle forward and it makes me show up.
Mm. Oh my gosh. And that's the story that really captivated and helped me understand your product. So now it makes me look at products that everyone does differently because there is a story behind why they created the product. And sometimes we're so in a fast pace of just, oh, grab that candle or grab this. But what is the essence of that? And so I loved hearing your story because it really brought a lot to light as to I provide a service, and it's because of my experience and my lived experience and my professional experience. And so taking that and looking at a product like that, saying, why did they create it? Why do they offer it? And why the different types of products, and how does that help? You spoke about being a survivor, and if you can share a little bit about that and what are your goals in using truths in helping other women?
So, as a survivor of sexual and domestic abuse, when I was young, I was sexually abused by more than one family, not family, family friend member. And and all through from the age of 11 to the age of 16, I was so rebellious. I made bad choices. I married early. But because of the negative feelings that I had about myself because of those incidences, I continued to make bad choices. So
Mm,
I went into a relationship where I felt that this man loved me, and then I started associating love with abuse. So
mm,
it became part of my psychological dialogue that if a man doesn't mistreat me, he doesn't love me, and that's messed up.
yeah.
So I went through periods of time where I tried to end my life. I tried to sedate with drugs and alcohol, sexual promiscuity, and it didn't solve anything. But I didn't really want to end my life. I just wanted out of the pain.
Hmm.
And I wanted to get out of the pain because I didn't value myself. So this is where my faith came in because my faith taught me that I was worth something. And once, like, I grew up in a very religious household, once you know about God, you can't unknow it. And I got to know him for who I built a relationship with him based on my understanding of who God is. So you, everybody else has their own definition, higher power. My greater power is God. And I believe that because I understand his word, because I know who I am and I know who I am in him, that I was able to transform myself and my mind, because it was my mind. Because once your mind is taken over and you get that negative dialogue, your choices reflect what you think of yourself.
Mm,
Until you change that, there's no change. We all want change in the world, but we never think about changing ourselves, right? And so, in order to change yourself, you have to love yourself because that's my premise. There is no self care without self love. You have to
mm,
first love yourself and value yourself. And this journey through my faith, and I always say I'm healing, ing, not healed, ed, because it's a journey every day about honoring myself, my values, what I believe in, and what I say to myself. And I don't get it perfect, I don't get it right every day, but I'm intentional to capture those thoughts that are taking me down a road where I don't want to lead, like thinking negative, negative, negative. And just to let you know that I did go to counseling, but the counseling I went to, I felt was keeping me in the problem
mm,
and not finding a solution. So that's when I went into I want to be a self-care coach. I want to be a wellness coach because I want to give people the tools to honor themselves, acknowledge what you went through, but we all have choices. Do we want to stay there or do you want to move forward? You can't
mm,
control the past, but you can control what you do from this moment on, and you get to control it. You get to take your power back. So with that, I introduced the truth principles within that framework of truth. So I continue to grow my business, being intentional to give back because it's so important. This is not for me. This is not for me. I feel it benefits me speaking about it and helping other people. If I help one person, beautiful. So my audience, I love to target, and I'm trying to pivot more intentionally is the teenagers and the younger people
mm,
to hit them before they make these choices so they understand because we live in a world where we don't even understand what self-value
yeah,
is, right? The visuals, the technology, they show you what how a woman's supposed to present themselves, how a woman's supposed to be treated,
yeah.
supposedly. We call each other these B names and we think it's uplifting and it's a mind game. We need to reset, reevaluate, be self aware, and just work on our self care and self love.
Mm, that is so amazing. You mentioned this journey is not about the financial piece. As an entrepreneur, is it a purpose-driven project, or is it becoming a resource, or all of the above?
It's a purpose driven, and if the benefits come to financial, trust me, I wish it was like all financial right now, but it's not. The benefits right now is helping because I work in corporate America as well. And the money is great, but my plan A allows me to do my plan B, and I want to turn my plan B into plan A.
Mm,
In order to do that, my current job facilitates that. So for that, I'm really grateful. And my messaging, my career goals were always money inspired. But the older I get, I want to leave a legacy of impact. And
mm.
this truth, it gives me so much life talking about it. It gives me so much drive, and I get so excited about what can I do next? How can I help? How can I reach out? How can I get into the community? How can I get my products out there so I can get the statement out there so people can ask the questions? Why? Why did you create Truths? Because I really love that question.
So you mentioned you work in corporate America, which is like, but then you're creating this product, you're an entrepreneur. I know I lived that world years ago, but you're currently in it. So how is it with the demands of making this product that you have and having this business? How intense does it get? How does it go when it comes to, oh, you're working, but then you have to create more and have more product out there, or there's this big order that just came in? Like, how is that balance and personal?
So that's a really great question. My work allows me a lot of flexibility, and I lead a team. And I always feel it's important to lead a team how I want to be led. So I've given them the tools. I do a lot of delegation. I'm very present in the problem solving. But as soon as that 5 o'clock deadline is, my boundaries are set. That's my
Mm,
family time, that's my time, and I'll work. I always say I'm going to do it for like an hour, and then it's like 10:30. It's like, so I spend like maybe 3 to 4 hours a day. On a bad day, it will be an hour, but it's usually I get so involved in making. So, and because I'm able to work from home also,
mhm.
it allows me in the in between times, okay, let me just light that candle wax, melt it, and then I can pour it and it can set. Then I can get back and run to the meeting. So, yeah, my work allows me a lot of flexibility to maneuver, and I give my 100% at work, and I now incorporate my self-care into the team I lead because
Wow.
I'm very intentional. They see my posts and they're like, Cheryl, I really appreciate this. I love that you're saying this. I'm like, I'm not just saying, I live it. And I want to give you guys permission to set those boundaries. If you need to walk away and we're too stationary in the day, take that time you
Mhm.
need, go get some sunshine, go take a walk. I said, I don't mind, just as long as you meeting the deadlines throughout the day. I'm not a micromanager, but I do expect if I delegate work to be done by a certain deadline that it's done, and they have the flexibility to work within those parameters. And I have a great team of associates and some that I can even call friends because our conversations are real conversations and they can come to me about real problems that they have at work. And it's almost like they've given me a platform to practice my coaching
I,
ability.
I was just going to say that you have this platform already that allows you to be present in what you're looking to do for the future, your next steps.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't think there's any accidents. And I think that I believe that everything that you go through, every job you have, every experience you experience is used for something else. And I do believe that the experience that I have from corporate America has allowed me to use my business sense and my critical thinking to do a lot of the marketing for my product. Not that I've spent a lot of time doing what I'm supposed to do,
Mhm.
but I know that will come eventually. So I'm in a good space. I love what I do. I love my day job and I love my passions.
That's great. And one thing that you said earlier also, which really I had to write it down because I was like, I don't want to forget to ask. You mentioned now that I'm at this age, why is it that we wait for so long? What I love is that not only did you say that you're learning a lot and there's a lot that you're really feeling grounded on based on where you're at, but your intentions are to help the younger ones get to that level earlier. And I love that because it's like, yes, we need to bring them in earlier. Why do we have to wait this long to figure things out?
I think we're in a different climate, right? The
Mhm.
things we talk about today were more difficult to talk about years ago. Maybe if I had these conversations, maybe culturally also, because coming from a Jamaican heritage, there's certain things you don't even talk about. So I've gone outside of my culture and done things a little bit differently based on, I walk to my own beat now. And I find that the younger people now are looking for purpose, but they just don't have or don't understand how to get there. There's so many distractions pulling them in different directions. And I don't think most of them stop to ask why. What is my purpose, or what am I passionate about? When I see or hear something, how do I react to it? Maybe that's what you're passionate about. Ask your friend how. I always ask my friends in my close circle, what do you see me doing, or what do you think are my best qualities? I ask those questions because and I surround myself with people who tell me the truth. I don't want to hear, "Oh, you're so perfect." I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, "Well,
Yes.
you were a little bit harsh over here. Maybe you could have answered differently here." And
Mhm.
I appreciate that feedback because as I mentioned earlier, I always want to be a better version of myself, better than I was yesterday, the day before, last year. I don't want to look back at last year and think that I'm still in the same place. I haven't
Mm.
done anything different. I'm still making the same decisions. No, that's not me. So my circle is a little bit smaller, but they still reflect all branches of who I am. And I surround myself with people who know more than me because I don't want to be the only one
Mm.
people are coming to for advice. And I love asking questions, and I love being imparted wisdom with, and I have a wide range of associates in different age groups, like even in like the 80s, because I value how they feel as well. The elders have a really deep spot in my heart too, and that might be cultural. I just love to sit and talk to them and how they reflect on what used to be, and because some of those used to be's should be incorporated in today's world, like sitting down and
Yeah.
have conversations with your family, bring those family heritages forward. Just the family structure in general, for me, is so important. And a lot of people don't have what I have. I have two parents that are still married, and I'm dealing with aging parents too. We have a beautiful family structure, and I just wish for everybody to have the really great experiences with life or create those moments.
Yeah, and that's so important because, like, I myself, I came from a background of my parents divorced when I was 3. And so I was raised by a single mom, and I saw all of the efforts and hard work that she put in. Even though the overall family, in essence, was a big family, it was always just us. And I learned a lot about independence, but I also learned about family. I did learn that family is important. With all that you shared, I know that you created Truce as a product for well being, but in addition to Truce, what else do you have in place to protect your mental well being?
Prayer and meditation are very important to me. I meditate on a verse all the time. Your very hands have held me and made me who I am. You give me more revelation so that I may learn to please you more. And that's Psalm
Mm.
119, that's 73. So my faith is very paramount to me because filling the soul, I can do the outward truth elements, but it's inside out for me. It's internal,
Mhm.
external. You see the external me, and that could look good, and sometimes it looks awful, but my internal beauty is so much more important than my outward beauty. Now, sometimes I'll show up and you'll be like, "Oh Lord, what is that girl doing? She doesn't even show up today." But as long as my inside is prepped,
Yes.
I'm good. And so I use a lot of prayer and meditation exercise. I have a husband who is very supportive of me. I have a family values and structures in place that I don't compromise on. So, what do I have in place? I have in place my faith, and it's so important for me because I said this, I don't want to do anything that doesn't feed the soul. And that's very important with the Truth products. And that's why I've gone into the wellness drinks too, which I'm being able to relaunch soon.
And with that, it's not just you giving out and pouring out, but also pouring in so that you could keep going, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I find I'll go visit nursing homes because of the organization that I used to lead. There was quite a few elderly there. So some of the elderly became very good ear mates, I should say,
Mm.
because they thought they were learning things from me, but I learned so much about the history of New York and other things. And just the beauty of talking to them. I created a space because my thing is I don't like to see people be alone, especially
Mm,
the elderly. I feel that sometimes they're just put away to the side and you just forget about them and come see them on holidays and whatnot. I guess that's another passion of mine, the elderly. So
mm.
because I live further away from my parents than I would like at this time, they're in Canada, I'm in the US, and my mindset is how can I make them more comfortable? How can I make sure they age gracefully? They've given me so much in life. How can I make sure that they have everything they have? And that's kind of how I go through my life. How can I help this person? And I used to overextend myself, I won't lie, but I have really clear boundaries, but I still love to
Mhm.
talk with people. I love to know that I can help them in some way. If I can't, I will always redirect them to somebody who has that information. I love conversations like this because you get to learn about each other. I've learned a lot about you, and it's all about a connection.
And like I said, that goes back to when we connected. I think about it like it was yesterday. And the more I hear you share your journey and you hear me, it's just like, wow, God, nothing happens by mistake. And the connection was a true alignment.
Yes.
And the more I hear you speak, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so connected to what she's saying. It's just so amazing. And so going back to just you as an entrepreneur, has there ever been a challenge that really truly, you're like, oh, I'm ready for this, that really truly has impacted you, your business, any learning lessons?
Everything is a lesson for me. Like the challenges that I face, I'll start from when I did my the Wounded Soul. I went to a theater. I never knew anything about Broadway or off Broadway or how to get a theater, but I decided I'm going to rent a theater. I had friends that thought I was crazy. What are you going to what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing it. What I don't know, I'll figure out. So I went and the executive director told me he can't use my play because it's too graphic. And I said, well, your website says you're embracing all this culture. And he's like, okay, well, you gave me another set of eyes to look. They passed it to the board because I said, it's not entertainment for me, it's education. It's not about making people comfortable. I want them to be uncomfortable. This is not a comfortable topic to speak about. I don't want to make it pretty. I know most Broadway shows or off Broadway, they kind of like do symbolisms and analogies. And I had like the voice of a young girl in the background in the dark with a single light, just all the torment that I was feeling at the time that I was
Mm,
being violated. And he didn't want all that
right.
information and he didn't want the abuse because of how my ex held my daughter over the balcony. So he thought it was too graphic, but it happened.
Mhm.
So the challenge that I faced there was never to give up in the face of no, right? So I found a way to make it happen. I had challenges sometimes when I moved too fast in a business decision and I haven't dotted all the I's and crossed the T's,
Mm,
which I just recently experienced full disclosure with my wellness drinks. But now I just passed my certification. I got my kitchen.
yay.
So I'm rolling it out. But it enabled me to rebrand the label, which is
Awesome.
so much, it's amazing. So I use every setback as lessons
Mm,
because I can't stay in like, poor me, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I can't make decisions because my mantra is every decision will cost you something. Even making no decision is still a decision. So I figure if I make a bad decision, I'll just have to think about another decision to make. And that's how I look at it. I don't really look at them as failures, but I do appreciate challenges because it gives me an opportunity to grow and to learn more and to research and figure, can I really do B without doing A? And it gives me a nice process map into the next time I launch something,
mhm.
make sure that I know A, B, C, and D before it hits the retail. So, yeah, so I've had quite a few business challenges, but they all help me grow as a business person.
Are there like one or two important skills that you would share with the listeners that they should consider as they venture into being an entrepreneur?
Yes, I think the main thing that I would say is make sure that you like people. I've seen
Hmm.
business
Oh my
people.
goodness. Wow. Yes.
I've
That
seen
was like drop the mic right there. Like,
Make sure you like people. Make sure you're able to have a conversation. And even if the customer is wrong, don't make them feel like they're wrong. There's always a way to mitigate arguments or make people still feel special. My dad was a businessman for 35, 37 years, I think 37. And I always loved how he made every single person make feel special.
Mm,
And he might have not remembered all the names, and that's one of my problems. Hi, love. Hi, beautiful. Hi, sunshine. Hi, doll. Because I can't remember the name. And he used to do the same. He used to make everyone feel special. And I used to love that about my dad because they would come in and you would just see the customer just feel a little bit better
yeah.
about themselves. And I want my clients and customers to have the same experience. So you have to know how to speak to people. Even if they're wrong, you've got to do things in a tactful manner. Financially, you don't have to start at level A. You have to grow to your
Mhm.
business. Like sometimes we start out too fast, too hard. Know your business fundamentals. Know if it's better for you to be an entrepreneur, sole proprietor or LLC or corporate, but and always protect your assets by having something outside of yourself. So you have an organization and have people that you can talk to legally, somebody who's been where you want to be, not that you have to do what they have done, but someone that has a great business sense. Because I have a
Mm.
lot of business people around me because a lot of business people understand some of the struggles that on a daily basis. I have friends that are in business and I'll be like, you know what, I'm having a hard day. I don't know this. And well, reframe that, Cheryl. I'm like, yes, you're so right. So it's all about your business sense and make sure that you really like people. Make sure that you're doing what you do because the money will
Mm.
come when the purpose is fulfilled. If you're
Yeah.
pursuing the finance first because you think it's a get rich quick scheme, those never work out. Build your business. There's so much pride in building and seeing that you're going from the next level to the next level to the next level.
Wow. I had a recent conversation with somebody about those get rich quick
Uh-huh.
tips and get rich in 30 days or, become your own boss in 30 days and get rich and become a millionaire. One of the things my husband always shared with like students that I was teaching, slow and steady,
Yes, slow and
because you don't know what you're going to miss if you go that fast. Right.
right.
So slow and steady, you're going to hit challenges no matter what rate you go, but you're able then to understand and make those challenges or struggles a learning lesson. But if you go so fast, you're not going to have a learning lesson. You're going to just fall flat on your face and then be like, but what happened? You know,
Right.
it's like you were running too fast. Like,
Exactly. So true.
so that's something that I always state. And that's how I've run my business, slow and steady. For me, it was never a getting rich type of thing, becoming an event planner. I decided to switch from being corporate, being an accountant, to then being an event planner. It wasn't, this was like over 20 something years ago, it wasn't like a career like it is now. And now it's like there's so many different event planners venturing into this, which is great. But as I have conversations with people that I come across and they're like, oh, I would love to learn more, which really directed me to becoming a mentor. I've been a mentor for quite a few years and educate and speak on the experience. It all comes down to knowing your lane. And you shared this earlier, just staying in your lane, walking in your way. Yes, we can learn from others, but understanding why you're doing what you do and understanding that if you go fast, you're going to miss something. So, how do you either find a mentor or professionals or coach, right, to help you? You don't have to have a coach for like forever or a mentor forever, but there are people in place to support you at different stages of your business.
Absolutely.
And when they come through, then those are key moments. I've had coaches in different levels. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in business, there's just so many different things that are involved in you being an entrepreneur that you
Right.
need time to do what you're looking to do. And if you're doing it by yourself, you're like, you're going to miss something because you're not talking to anybody. I am a firm believer that God puts in place those
Yes.
people that need to be with you, that walk with you, that you can trust, and that will understand what you're looking to do, but also give you those real conversations as
That's
well.
right. That's right. No, and you just touched on something. You have a coach, and I think that's so important that you have to be prepared to invest in your business
Hmm.
and yourself. If you are your business, you have to invest in yourself to make
Right.
sure that you have all the tools that you need in order to be better. And that tool is different for everybody else. But that's a very good point. You have to be prepared to invest in yourself. People, sometimes I've talked to people getting into business and they don't want to invest in like a marketing person. And you don't have to do it for all of your business life. Talk to somebody who knows about that. And that was one of my siloed moments because I was an octopus for the first year and a half. And then I said, you know what? I need to start building a team of people that I can reach out to if I have questions about this. And yes, if I have to pay them, I have to pay them because it's an investment in the business, which will come back to me eventually, right? And
Exactly.
so marketing, somebody knows about marketing, somebody knows about branding, somebody knows about social media because I can't do it all. And to get to a place where you can say that, it's so relieving. I can't do it
Yeah.
all. I won't do it all. I don't want to be Superwoman. I don't want to be that song. So I find viable people. I have friends who are great in social media, great in marketing, great in coaching, and I'll reach out. I need some help in helping me align my thoughts because sometimes I get to thinking and I want to do A, B, C, and D. How do I do it? And then I talked to a marketing girl and she aligned all my thoughts. And I'm just like, wow, that was so awesome. Thank
It's
you.
like, well, yes, that's what I want.
Yes, it's worth the investment. So
It
yeah,
is.
I just want to
It
highlight
is.
that.
That's great. I completely 100% agree. I had offered my mentoring program quite a few years ago and then I stopped. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be just as impactful as I wanted it because I'm the type of person that I'm a hands-on entrepreneur. That's how I push my business forward and how I grow. So if I'm mentoring someone to be intentional and know that if they're going to invest in me before they sign the contract, they need to commit that they're going to be hands on in their business because I could share a checklist and take your money, but that's not what I want to do.
Right.
I want it to be purposeful and intentional. Like you said, you have your products, it's a purpose driven product. For me, the same thing. It's purpose driven. I want them to make sure that the reason that they're reaching out to me is because they need guidance. They need to move their business to the next level. I'm not going to move your business to the next level.
That's right. They need sweat equity in it too, right?
Exactly. So if you need someone to do that for you, I'm not that person. I need you to wake up and realize you asked for my help because you want to learn and get motivated enough to find your way and your
Right.
roadmap. Everybody's roadmap is different. You can
That's
get a template, buy a template, but other than that, it's not going to be your personal, unique roadmap. And it's all about us becoming uniquely who we are and bringing that to our business, right?
absolutely.
And if we don't
Yes.
have that, then we're going to try to mimic somebody else's.
Yes.
And I'm not going to give you that.
No, no, good for you because it for that tells me that you're not invested in the business or you're in it for the wrong reason, right? There's
Exactly.
nothing that's going to tie you there to keep you there. It's all
Yeah,
I want to be like this person or I just want to make a financial gain with no sweat
exactly.
equity. It doesn't work that
Yeah.
way. You get so much more reward from doing the things in your business to propel it forward And looking back, like knowing what my candle looked like in the beginning and to what it looks like today, good Lord, I'm surprised I still have customers. But no, I know more of the science. I understand the blends. I know so much more every year, and I'm always researching to do better. Like, what can I do better? What's the latest? I use the best waxes, and my products are eco-friendly. I didn't mention that. So that's important to me. I didn't start off that way, but I've grown into sustainability that this is so important for the environment too.
That is awesome. And so, if there were one or two takeaways from this conversation today for our listeners, what would it be?
Self-love predicates self-care.
Hmm.
And without love for yourself, self-care becomes shallow, performative, or inconsistent. So, in the realizing that self-love is not a destination, but it's also a journey. So, be sure that you invest in yourself in your journey of self-love, and the self-care will come. And just ask yourself, what do I need to call a truce with myself from? And that meaning, what do you need to forgive yourself for? What is stopping you from moving forward? Because we all have obstacles that keep us stagnant. And if we don't identify it or acknowledge that it's there, we can't move them.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you think that when we don't try to heal whatever trauma we've been through, it keeps us from our success?
It does. We don't show up of who we are. Like I was showing up, I have the biggest smile but I was making some terrible choices in my life because there was things I didn't deal with. And until you deal with it and unveil the layers of the fraudulent you who you want the world to see, and you take some time and say, I feel rejected, I feel abused, I feel violated, I feel whatever your experience, trauma is trauma. Everyone has a choice on what they want to do. I refuse to stay a victim because that gives your offender so much more power. No one's going to have power over my life except God, and I have control over how I show up in the world. And the only person I can change is myself. And there's a process of self evaluation, self realization that you have to do every morning. And that takes at sometimes being still, getting rid of all the distractions, meaning technology detox. And that's hard because I had to do that TV and everything. Read a book that inspires you. Take up the Bible, read a word. You'd be surprised how you open that book, you go ask for a word from the Lord, and He gives it right to you at the right time every time. I'll just share this lastly with you that I was looking through the Bible a few weeks ago, and it was a down day, and I said, just give me a scripture, Lord. And He said, from the 24th day of the ninth month, I blessed you.
Mm,
Tears just came to my eyes because that was the day my daughter was born. And
wow.
I've never seen that reference in the Bible ever for all the years I've
Wow.
been in there. And I was like, wow, that was so on
Mm.
time. And I told my daughter, I said, you are my blessing. She's like, I know, Mom. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, just stay in self-awareness is always key to self-growth.
Mm, amen to all of that. Wow. Gave me chills. But I do agree. From the moment that I first opened up a Bible, you could read the same scripture different times, different, and whatever you're going through, it'll share something differently.
Yes,
You
that's so
know,
true.
it's like so that really captivated me to the word of God a lot when I was receiving. And sometimes we can open up a Bible and not be ready for it. And we don't receive it because we're not intentional with that moment, right?
Right.
It's not, oh, let me look to see what it says. No, you open up just natural, just to read what that word is for the day, and it'll connect, it will align when you're not expecting
Yes.
what it is. We don't open up the Bible like a genie in the bottle type.
Right. Right. God is not a genie in the bottle. That's right.
It's not a genie in the bottle. It's not whatever you want when you want it.
Right.
It's being
Because
true to who you are, true to being just an imperfect person, right?
yes.
We're all imperfect, and only God is perfect, and He will deliver what it is for us, what is our intention. That's why it took me years, I would say close to 15 years, in understanding my purpose. And now I'm getting to that milestone of my life. And it's like, wow, it took me that long to understand the purpose of who I am and
Like
why.
you got there,
And I
right?
got there.
You
And
got
now
there.
I'm living in it
That's awesome.
purposely and intentionally. And I'm just loving. When he placed his hands on me, I received it. And there was no going back. So
That's awesome. Everyone should believe in something
yeah,
greater than
yeah,
themselves,
yes,
right?
yes,
Because man can't make man.
no,
There's something greater. There's
yeah,
something greater going on. And as I said earlier, some people call him higher power, whatever. I call him God. So
mhm.
if you have to believe in something greater than yourself. You're not an individual that did things on your own and the universe is just making a way for you. There's a purpose for every single person. And my hope and prayer for everyone that's listening is that they find their purpose.
Amen to that. And how can they connect with you and find your products?
Oh, okay. So truce.sh.com is my website, and that's truce, Truch, by sh is my initials.com, or my name, SherylHatwood.com. Those are my two websites. And I'm on Instagram as truce by sh and SherylHatwood.com and LinkedIn. I'm all over the place.
You're all
If
over.
I, if you
And
Google me,
I'll
you'll find me.
Yeah, and I'll have all of that information also in the show notes. But thank you so much, Cheryl, for being here. Always a pleasure speaking to you. I'm so excited that our paths cross purposely and can't wait to just keep the conversation going and seeing. I know you have special things coming up for 2026, so I'm really, really excited. Yeah.
Yes, Jacqueline, thank you for bringing more sunshine into my day. I really love
Oh.
these conversations. So, blessings to you and continue to shine.
Thank you. Same to you. And thank you, everyone, for listening and tuning in to this episode. As always, make sure to comment, share. And if you need to repeat this podcast episode, please do. There were so many golden nuggets in here that I didn't even expect. So I know God is in the midst of this conversation. So tune in, repeat this episode, comment, share, and stay tuned for another episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. Take care.